has been created to bring you many, many different shows. And one of them is Ask the Tax Lady. For Ask the Tax Lady is a show, a podcast that's brought to you to be able to keep you informed about different tax questions that people may have, to be able to answer them with the best knowledge that they have. Ask the Tax Lady also is created for life-changing events as well. So we'll be bringing different situations to you, not only related to taxes, but financial and as well as personal life. Remember, each week that you are listening, you must subscribe in order to get the tax course that is being offered for free. Yes, the tax course is free. It's getting you prepared for the tax season that's coming up next year. So as you're watching Ask the Tax Lady, make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment so that we'll know that you are a part of our community. The free tax course is to give you more in-depth information about becoming a tax preparer. And at the end of the course, you'll be given a quiz, which will, test your knowledge so that you can become the best tax preparer within the industry, or one of the best tax preparers within the industry. So you guys know me, I'm Samantha Johnson-Person, the host of Ask the Tax Lady. Again, if you have questions throughout the week, make sure you can comment. You can put it in our comments. You could email us at rnsfinancial67@gmail.com. You can also call our office if you would like, and that number is 407-802-2307. And you can ask to speak to the tax lady. So without any further ado, how our setup is to talk about what's in the tax course. And I just give you like a brief overview for the upcoming week so that you'll kind of get your mind right, so that when you're watching the videos, and if you have questions, make sure you jot down your questions, and then you can ask those questions email or through the or call or through the comment section for that video specifically. So last week we just did an overview of the simple laws and the tax forms. So what's coming up this week is going to be more in detail. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of how to do a tax return. So in detail, we're going to be talking about Circular 230. Circular 230 is really, really the due diligence for a tax preparer. That's kind of like your responsibilities to the IRS as well as to your clients. Publication 947, which is the power of attorney publication, which allows you to represent your clients before the IRS in written form. So you would have your client fill out that part. If you're not an enrolled agent or a CPA, then you have your client fill out that form, and then you'll be able to represent them before the IRS. Then you have publication 4557, which is the rights of your clients. So that publication is something that you need to be familiar with as well, because that lets you know what your clients can and cannot do when it comes to preparation of taxes. Then we go into the details. So the 1040 form, I've broken it up into different sections, because if you did everything at one time, especially if you're not a seasoned tax preparer, you'll become confused, and it may be a little bit too much. So I broke it up in different sections. So the part two goes into detail about the 1040 form, and it covers that part I was talking about last week about the correct information, making sure everything is correct as far as the address, the names, the address, social security numbers, birth dates. That's one of the main things that get the tax returns rejected, because the IRS, like I said, communicates with Social Security Department, and they immediately could say, well, the Social Security number is not right, or it's not matching the name or the birth date for an individual. Whatever you have on that Social Security card, that's what needs to go on the tax return. So that part one covers the correct information. It covers the names, the address, the dependent information, their name, their Social Security number, and the relationship they are with you. That's what the first part, and it's hands-on. So we go through it line by line, so you would know what you're doing at each step of completing a 1040 tax return. And also we talk about the levels of certification, which is the first thing that you need in order to prepare to be a paid tax preparer is a P10 number. And this year, I believe it's going to be 1975, around about 20 bucks. And that's in November. So right now, when you're looking at the videos, you'll get an idea of what you need in order to get a P10. Do not get your P10 now, because you'll pay $20 now, and then you're going to have to pay again in November. So we're going to go in more detail once we, get our software, once we get situated. We'll do a physical training class on how to obtain your P10, and that's going to be coming in November. But you can still look at the training courses so that you could be ahead of the game, so you can know what you're going to be needing in order to obtain your P10. Then we'll talk about an enrolled agent, as well as being an EFIN holder. So those are some of the things that's going to be in the upcoming course. So remember to click subscribe so that you'll be able to see these courses, and you can go through them, whenever at your leisure. But we just do a weekly synopsis of what to look for in the next course. But if you have experience and you want to go ahead and be a quick learner, you can sit down and go, because each course is like between 45 minutes and an hour. So you just have to, take some time on a Sunday and go through it and see. It'd be well worth it in the future for you to be a great tax preparer. So if we don't have any questions, you could put your questions in our chat group. I have a moderator that is monitoring those questions. If you have questions that we can answer while we're on the air, if not, you could just put them in there and we'll answer them next week. Remember, every Tuesday, we'll be here between, around 5:30 to ask the tax lady any questions that you have related to taxes, and maybe even personal reference to your life and how we can help you better, because we do more than just taxes here with Flavor TV. So it just depends. So don't be afraid, ask the questions. So with that being said, we're going to go into some of the questions that we received last week. Every week, we pick 5 questions to answer. Some a little detailed, some is a quick yes, no, but we pick 5 questions from those that we receive to answer on a weekly basis on Ask the Tax Lady. So our first question, can you go to jail for not filing taxes? That answer is yes. Yes, you can. It all depends on your status and your filing status, and how much you make, and so it depends on quite a few things that you can go to jail, and you can receive penalties or fees. A couple of people, I give an example. We all know what Wesley Snipes end up going to jail because he didn't file his taxes. So this is quoted straight from online. He was accused of not filing his returns in 2008, and he had to pay a fine of $5 million in back taxes. And he ended up serving 3 years in prison for 10 years. I mean, in 2010, I'm sorry. So in 2010, he ended up serving 3 years because he did not file his taxes. He didn't pay his taxes. So you have to pay your taxes. Another celebrity that ended up getting in trouble for not filing taxes, Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill ended up having to pay a penalty. She had to pay $1.8 million. And she had to do some jail time. I think she only did like 3 months. So she only had to serve 3 months. But if they had someone preparing their taxes, an accountant that was being held accountable for paying their taxes, they wouldn't end up in any trouble. They had to do jail time, they had to pay penalties and fees. So it's best that you do your taxes. If you're working, you're a W-2 employee, the government has already took some taxes from you. You get with your good tax preparer and start planning early. Don't wait until December 31st to start planning your taxes. There's strategies that can be used that you can get a refund. So if you start planning early, sit down with your tax preparer. Don't just have a fly-by-night preparer that, you searching around to see who's going to get you the biggest refund. No, you need to make sure that that person is familiar with the industry, the tax industry, and ask questions and be able to look at your tax return and make sure that it's done correctly. Of course, there are many other celebrities as well as everyday people. I've known people personally that end up having to pay fines because they did not file their taxes. And at a certain point, as a tax preparer, you could only do so much. So the best thing, file your taxes, do your taxes every year, do your taxes. Next question. Can someone claim me as an adult? Yes, someone can claim you as an adult. You can give permission to your kids. Like I use me as example. I claimed my mom for many years because my mom lived with me and I took care of her, or my grandmother. I took care of her. She did have a little income, but it wasn't enough for her to, be able to survive on her own. So she stayed with me and we claimed her on our taxes. Now, this is my grandmother. Of course, she's an adult. Our adult children, if they stayed with us, if they lived with us for, 6 months or more throughout the year, then we claim them. You can give a person the authority to claim you on their tax return if they are providing the majority of your support and you live with them for 6 months or more. So yes, someone can claim you as an adult. The couple of things that has to be valid in order for them to claim you. One, you have to have a valid Social Security number or card. And remember, the name that's on the Social Security card has to match what is put on the tax form, or the IRS will kick it back. So that and your birth date, all that has to be valid in order for someone to claim you. Next question. How much credit can an individual receive from college? So when you're filing your taxes and you go to college, more than likely they're going to send you a 1098-T. A 1098-T is the tuition and grants or whatever that you received while you attended that college. So when your tax preparer is doing your taxes and they ask you for your 1098-T, that's so that you can get a credit back. And the most that you can get back is like $1,000. But that's a credit that you can receive from your taxes. So, for example, you get a 1098-T, they might have taken tuition out, they might have taken books or whatever the case out, but the things that are not on there is your expenses. Your expenses for, hold on one second, let's see if we get any questions. Your expenses for your computer. You need a computer, either a laptop or desktop to do your work. Your expenses for book bags, paper, pencils, electronics, if depending on what are you majoring in. Maybe you need to set up you're going to school online, so you need to set up an online classroom, which would be like a desk, a chair. So all those are expenses that you can calculate into your 1098-T form that your tax preparer does for you. Next question. How can I tell the IRS my address has changed? A lot of people believe that the IRS is this infamous place that, they don't want to ruffle the feathers. They don't want to make contact with them unless they have to, or unless they contact them. But sometimes you have to fix things because the IRS doesn't know. If the IRS is mailing you a check and it goes somewhere and it comes back to them, they're not going to take that extra time to try to figure out where you are, even though they know everything. They could just put it in and see, oh, well, you was getting mail at XYZ last month. They're not going to take that extra step. It's your responsibility as a tax preparer, as a tax client, to notify them that your address has changed. You can even go to your tax preparer and say, hey, I need to update my address. Most of the time, people update their addresses when they file their taxes for the next year. But if you have a check out there that's due to you, you might want to complete the forms, go back to your tax preparer, say, hey, I actually talked to one of my clients this morning to find out did they receive their return, because it was supposed to be mailed to them in October and they had not received it. So we have to go through this process. Actually, she was the one that sent this question to me. So now we have to go to the next step of completing the form. So you can mail a form to them. The form is 8822. 8822, and it's an online form. You go to the irs.gov website, type in 8822, the form pops up, you can fill it out PDF, print it, and then you can mail it to them. If you're in the state of Florida, which is where I'm at, you're just going to mail it to Treasury Internal Revenue Service, Austin, Texas, 73301-0023. That's if you're in the Florida area. But when you pull the form up, it'll tell you, like, depending on what state you're from, what location you would need to mail it to. So you will mail the form to change your address. And I'll be working on that this week for the person that sent the question in. Okay, so the next question is, how do I find out about my refund? So this is the same person that asked about the address change because they didn't get their refund. So when you want to find out, of course, everybody knows the basic, where's my refund? So when you go to the irs.gov website and you click on where's my refund and you put in the information that's needed, they only ask you like three things: your filing status, what year are you looking for, which could be 23, 22, or 21, and the amount. And once you put that in and you hit submit, then the system will bring back whether the refund was sent or it was offset. If they say it was offset, then they'll list, like, was it offset for child support, back taxes, or student loans. Those are the main three reasons why your return would be offset. So once you find out, let's say well, it was mailed. Now you need to find out from your tax preparer or what address was it mailed to. And if it wasn't mailed to the correct address, then you go back to that 8822 form to correct it so that you can get your check mailed. It's probably going to take a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, but at least it's corrected in the system. You can also call, the IRS at 800-829-1954. Again, that number is 800-829-1954. And at that number, you could, ask them the same question. So you could do it digitally through Where's My Refund, irs.gov, Where's My Refund, give you the information, or you can call 800-829-1954. And then you could use the automated system just as if you was online. And the other thing you could do is if you want to speak to someone in person, that number is 800-829-1040. Simple. 1-800-829-1040. And you can speak to a live person. Now that number, you probably gonna be on hold. I would suggest calling at 7 in the morning. They open up at, I believe, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. But the earlier you call, the less wait time you have. If you call at 1, 2, 3, you could be, I've been on hold for like 4 hours before. So my experience and suggestion is calling when they first open, 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's how you can find out about your refund. Then you can claim for a missing refund if processed. If it has been processed, when you go to check where's my refund and they say, oh, they deposited in this account and it's showing that it's clear, now you're gonna have to take another step and file a claim so that they approve that your refund was, that you didn't use the refund, that somebody else did. And then that's where you'll go through those steps. You go to irs.gov, they go to the refund, where's my refund, and you'll be able to see if the check wasn't cashed. You'll receive a replacement check once the original check is canceled. The other thing is, if the refund check was cashed, then the Bureau of Fiscal Services will provide you with a claim package that includes a copy of the cash check. So it's just a process. If you have not received it, and if you could just do the address thing and they'll send it back out to you. If it hasn't been cashed, if it has been cashed, then it's going to be some extra steps. So just contact us if you feel like you have not received your refund and you need assistance with that. You can contact us at RNS Financial Services at 407-802-2307 or rnsfinancial67@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to assist you. Make an appointment, talk to you over the phone, and assist you with getting your money. Next question. What do I do if I receive a letter or notice from the IRS? First thing you want to do is open the mail. You have no idea how many of my customers come to me with the letter still sealed and can you open this? Open it. It's just a letter. It's best to open it as soon as you get it, because a lot of the IRS notifications are time stamped. So you may have a week or 2 weeks. Well, usually they give you like 2 weeks or 30 days to respond to something. But if you get it and you're sitting on your mail table for 3 weeks and then you bring it to me, now I'm trying to rush and get the documentation or whatever it is that they're requesting. So as soon as you get a notification or a letter, open it. Sometimes it's information, sometimes it's not. Sometimes they want you to validate your return. Sometimes they want you to, you may have an audit, but not a face-to-face audit. It might be a paper audit that we can take care of immediately. So as soon as you get the letter, open it, then you contact me, and you could screenshot it, send it to me, because I have to see exactly what they're asking for. I can't go by verbal and what you're telling me. I need to see exactly what they're asking for. Or whoever your tax preparer, they need to be able to read it and see it, because we understand the language that you don't understand as a tax preparer. So open it, bring it to your tax preparer, or bring it to me, or fax it, however you need to get that information to your tax preparer. So the letters, the notices that they may send you, it could have a balance due, could be a little balance due. If you have a balance due from, say, 2022, and then you file your 2023 taxes and you get a refund, only thing they're gonna do is take that balance. If your refund is more than what you owe, they'll just take that balance due from your refund. So it's no reason to get, upset or get worried. So just know that that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna take from your refund. Now, if you're not getting a refund in 2023, then you need to start making preparations, get with your tax preparer or give us a call. And there's different things that you could do to prepare to pay them back. If it's a large amount, you don't got to pay the whole thing back. It's different things. It's called the offering compromise. Well, it's different things that your tax preparer should be familiar with that could assist you. Contact us at RNS Financial Services, and we'll be able to help you if you have a large tax bill that you need to be you need to set up something with the IRS. We can do that. We've done that before. If your refund has changed, that's simple. That everybody would love to just get that. I mean, unless it's a drastic change, but they'll send you a letter if your refund has changed. If it went from, most of the time you'll know, because when your deposit is less than what your refund supposed to have been, then you contact your tax preparer, and they should be able to tell you. They might not be able to tell you the exact amount, but they could say, oh, your refund was changed because you owe child support, because you owe back taxes, because you owe student loans. Well, some to that effect. They might not be able to give you the exact amount or who, but they could tell you a general reason why it might have been changed. If they have questions about your return, they'll be very specific as to what they're looking for. If they need to verify your identity, I've had this happen to 3 people, and it's just been like recent, like last year. I had it happen to 2 people. It happened to us, I think the year before last. And basically, all we had to do was show them, one person, they had to send in their ID. They had to their ID in the answer some questions, like, identification questions. We went online and did the ID and me and answered the questions online, and within like 2 weeks our return was released. So it's just verifying your identity. They'll send you a notification if they changed or corrected your return. And that happens if you, I had a client that had literally had like 12 W-2s and still missed one. So when your employer sends their information to the IRS, they also send it to you. Now, if you've moved, your address changed, whatever the case, and you don't get that W-2, so you file your taxes with what you have, then the IRS system interacts with the employer that you had that sent the W-2, and it's like, hey, is something missing? So then they'll send you a letter saying that your return has been adjusted, or you have not reported all of your income. So now you have to go to your tax preparer to do an amended return so that you can have, get your refund, or if it's a difference, then you'll owe the IRS. So it's just best to try to wait until you get all your W-2s, or do that pre-planning that I talked about early. In November, it's time to start, recollecting. If you do a lot of jobs or gig work, okay, write down what you've done. And as they come in, check off. Okay, I got this for Uber, I got this for Lyft, I got this for DoorDash, I got this from my job. So you'll make sure that you have it. Contact us so that we could do a planning tax strategy with you. We can do this over the phone. I do this for free. I give, it only takes about 15 to 30 minutes to do a pre-planning for what you will need come tax time. That way you're not running around, you're not, scrambling for all these documents and stuff. You got it. December, you can come in after Christmas and give us your information, and you'll be some of the first ones in the portal, because tax season, the IRS doesn't really open until like the first week of January. However, your stuff will be ready, processed, and once the portal opens, it is done. So that's called tax planning. Another letter that they may send you is saying we're delayed in processing your return. I've had clients this happened to some clients years ago. It actually took a while because they had a business, so they was checking to make sure that their business status was valid, through SunBiz, which, these things shouldn't take that long, but it depends on the backlog. It depends on, how many people they have working. So they'll send you a letter saying we're still processing, or when you go online for where's my refund, it'll show your refund is still being processed. Your refund is still being processed. So you check that, and then after a while, I would suggest calling that 1-800-829-1040 number to get a human being to tell you like what's going on, because they can see a little bit more than what's on the computer. And you might even have to do a tax advocate, which those are some things that, the average person don't have to go that route, but you can contact us and we'll be able to assist you with locating your refund. The other thing that they suggest, this is straight from the IRS website. Once you get the letter, they have it's like a number on the side. It's a notice number. So you can go to the irs.gov website and you can put in that number, and it'll kind of give you more detail on what it is that they're looking for, what the topic is. And the number is like CP, or it'll say LTR number, and that way you'll be able to look and see what they're looking for through the actual IRS website. So those are our 5 questions for tonight. If you have any questions, comments, remember to subscribe so that you can get the free tax course that's offered, so that you could be prepared to become a tax preparer for the next tax season. I always like to leave you with a quote so that you can go on with the rest of your week. So this quote is from Martin Luther King Jr. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So basically, what he's saying is don't stop moving. Don't stop growing. Don't stop because of what happened in your past, what happened in your future. Not in your future, in your past. Run from that. If you can't run, then you walk. If you can't walk, then you crawl. If you can't crawl, then you do I don't know if anybody that was ever in the military where they do a low crawl, but keep moving, keep going, keep growing, keep learning. Don't let your past determine your future. Thank you for joining us this week on Ask the Tax Lady. We look forward to meeting and talking with you next Tuesday. Remember that you can go through, you subscribe first, and then you can go through the free tax preparation courses so that you could prepare for the next tax season. Next week, we'll be talking more about the different softwares and how you can purchase your software so that you could start practicing and becoming the best tax preparer that you could be. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.